order to control which areas are going to be influenced by which materials or which paint strokes, we want to set up a really great network of masks inside of our turtle. If you think about it, in this one object, the body object itself, we have eyes, the body, the nail, some of these really great details that I want to kind of be able to control independently from the scales of the underlying skin texture. There's a lot of objects that are sharing the exact same space. You may have already noticed that we really can't go in and select polygons and hide and deactivate the visibility of certain objects within inside of our scene. The masking system will allow us to control which texture information is going to go on which area. I like to first start off my entire process by establishing a good collection of masks so that I can very quickly go in and paint and control which areas are looking which way. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to add a couple here on the face. If you look carefully, I got the beak, I got the eye, I got the skin. Let's go ahead and do this real fast. We're going to create some masks. And specifically, we're going to be applying those masks to a whole series of folders. I'm over in my layers palette here, and this top row allows us to create a whole bunch of different things. We've talked about fill layers, how they're different from paint layers. This icon right here creates a folder. Now, folders are a great way to organize all the layers inside of our scene. Oftentimes, we'll want to describe specific texture information with a couple different layers. The eye is such a great example. I think when I have 3 or 4 different layers that create the eye illusion, being able to save and organize those in a folder is a good direction. Let's go ahead and start the process. Let's call this eye. There we go. Now, whatever goes in this folder, I want to influence just the eyeball itself. Well, how do I go in and just influence the eyeball? If I was to create a paint layer, see how with the folder selection selected, it automatically goes in. Now, if I go in, and let's just paint with just some regular color here, make it nice and red. Make my brush a little bit smaller. If I go in and start painting on this, I'm on the wrong texture set, by the way. I was on the shell texture set, so let's do this again. Let's add another folder. Call this one eye. My mistake, I apologize. We'll add in a paint layer as well. Now we can go in and paint the eye. Now this is all fun and games until we get to the border right there. I don't want the paint strokes to go over the outside of the eye. It's not looking so hot. I like that I can be able to go in and paint the eye, but I want to use the layering system to its full maximum potential. Well, thus enter masks. Masks are a great way for us to go in and influence the visibility of certain parts of our layers to the polygons or other factors inside the mesh itself. Masks can be created on any layer, and we do so by right-clicking on it. And I'm going to create a black mask. A mask is always going to be black and white, shades of gray. Where we have black pixels, that area of the texture is going to be deactivated. It's going to be invisible. Where we have white pixels, it's going to be opaque or visible. Let's do it real fast. Do black mask. Since I initially created the black mask, it turned off the visibility of the entire layer. Now I'm working on the mask now. If you look carefully, as I click on each one of these elements, a small little border appears around that little thumbnail. See how it's this blue border? I'm working on the mask, and the properties down here kind of confirm that, because now I'm just seeing a grayscale value. I can paint with black, or I can paint with white. Since I'm working on the mask and I'm painting with white, I can expose the visibility of all of that stuff that I previously painted a second before. Now that's pretty neat. But we can make it a little bit better because I want to be able to go in and use the polygons on the mesh to determine the contents of my mask. Let's do it real fast. I'm going to go into my mask itself and I'm going to remove the influence of it. I'm going to clear my mask, which is basically going to put it all back to black. Over in our toolbar, we've been working with the paintbrush, but if we go down a couple layers here, we have this object, which is polygon fill. and it's a great tool to use when working with masks. This is the only tool inside the Substance toolbox that understands and sees the polygons in the mesh itself. Now we're going to be filling the polygons with a specific value. Right now, it's going to be filling just in whatever polygon I select, it's going to fill with white. Let me zoom in here. So now I can go in. I'm just clicking on the individual polygons. I'm filling that part of the mask with white, which is exposing the red. Now, that's pretty neat. In addition, we also have mesh fill, which is going to look for the discontiguous, or I guess in this case, it's looking for the contiguous polygonal island inside the mesh itself. So if I click on it, wow, look, it saw all the polygons that were connected to that sphere, and it applied it to the mask, which is pretty neat. And the last one is going to go in and look for the UVs, and that's a really good one. We'll do that for the beak here in a minute. So why this is a great way of working, let's go back into our paintbrush, is that we've created a mask at the top layer, at the folder layer. Whatever goes into that folder is going to get the influence of that mask. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go in, and let's just do another paint layer here. I'm going to put it in the folder, so it's now being influenced by that mask. If I was to simply paint on the paint layer, here we go. My mask was selected here a second ago, and let's just do green. Check it out. As I get to the boundaries of the mask, you can see that I can't paint outside of that mask. Whatever happens at the folder layer is going to influence all the children inside the folder, which is pretty neat. Of course, these folders can be stacked on top of each other. Perhaps we want to have a fill layer underneath it. Let's put it outside the folder by dragging and dropping it. Now the fill layer is flooding the entire model first, and then whatever's on top of it is going to get the contents of our mask. Pretty cool, huh? Now we can also mask fill layers as well. It's not just limited to working with paint layers or folders. Basically, any layer inside a substance can be masked, and it's a great way to organize our model. So here's what I'm going to do. Now that we understand how it works, let's go in. I'm going to open up my folder and just delete both of those two paint layers. And I'm going to put a fill layer inside the folder itself. I like these fill layers because it's just going to flood the entire area with color. I create a whole series of masked folders first, just so I know how the entire layer stack here is being used to influence my model. Let's make another one for the beak. Create a folder. I don't want it in the eye folder. Let's drag it out. Come on, there it is. This is going to be the beak because I want to be able to paint and control that part of the texture independently from the rest. And then I'm also going to create another one for the nails. Of course, on the texture set for the shell, I'll do one for the shell as well. Let's do the beak and the nails and the skin real fast. We'll right click on the layer, add a black mask. I'm going to go into my polyfill tool, and this time I'm going to use this fill by UV map because both of these areas in here have been UV'd independently, their own island itself. To test it real fast, let's put a fill layer in there, and let's make this one, I don't know, how about blue? Yeah, there we go. Looking pretty good. Now we've got another error here. I got to figure out why it's looking like that. If you ever want to inspect your mask, here's a great trick. Go into this material pull down layer, and down here at the bottom we have a channel for just the mask. Aha! So it's not a problem with the fill layer, it's a problem maybe with our UVs. Let's go in and see if we can fix this. Oops. I clicked mesh, I meant that one. There we go. Oh, okay, I have a problem with, there it goes. Yeah. Sometimes it does get to be a little bit problematic. You have to click on revert at times to mask it correctly. Yeah, oops, yeah, and it masks all the way through, which is a big time bummer. This is the only part about Substance that I don't like. It uses a select through engine, and it accidentally masked all of this other stuff when I was doing the box select, which I'm just left clicking and dragging here to drag out a box. So be careful. This is why they have the ability for us to go in and see our masks. That way we can very quickly get a good understanding of how this is going to work. Let's go back into the UV section here. I'm going to click on that one. Yeah, there's something going on with the UVs there. See how it's going back? Let's put it to white. Let's see if we can add those in. I'll have to do some investigation on that as to why it's not working. Yeah, same over here. We may have some flipped UVs that are coming from Blender. I got to investigate that a little bit. But we can figure that as we go along. Put it back to white and grab just that top one. There we go. And we're on our way. So now I've masked out all the polygons that are associated with the beak, and things are looking good. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the nails. Now, the cool thing about working with the nails is that it's a symmetrical model. The nails on the left are the exact same nails on the right on both the front and the back. Luckily for us, Substance has a really great symmetry system inside the scene itself. And it's docked way up here at the top, and specifically, it's this icon right here. If we turn on symmetry, get a good, nice center line, so anything that we do to one side is automatically going to be done to the other side. Let's create a folder. We'll mask that folder. This is going to be nails. Add a black mask. We'll mask it off. It floods it with white. Let's go back into the polyfill tool. I want to use UVs. And I'm just going to, let's put a material or a fill layer in there. That way we can see our work. I always make it really bright colors. Just right off the bat, just so I can see how it's working. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm liking that. And the cool thing about working with symmetry is that it's done the other side for us automatically. We'll grab these in the back. And I'm pretty happy. As one might imagine, the final folder in here that we're going to be controlling is going to be the skin itself. Let's create it. Double click on the folder name. This is going to be the skin. Let's mask it by right-clicking and add a black mask. With the mask selected, we can add a fill layer inside the folder, and since this is going to be a green turtle, let's give it a nice bright green. We'll go back to the mask. Again, I'm in the polyfill tool using the UV option here. It's going to look for the UV islands, and I'm going to mask each UV island. There we go. Let's get the legs in here too. Yeah, I'm liking that. Grab that little corner. Those UVs may have gotten disconnected from their parent at some point, but that's okay. I think it's all going to work. And voila, things are starting to look pretty good. Now we have a very multicolored turtle inside of my scene, but each one of these colors represents a mask and an organizational system. Now, whatever I put in the skin folder is just going to be applied to the green. Whatever I put inside the purple folder is just going to be applied to the purple area. And this is another really great reason of why I choose to do what I do. Because I can see that I've messed up on the masking of my skin layer. Since it's above my nails, anything that I put in this folder is going to overwrite my nails. So let's fix it real fast. Let's go back into my polyfill tool. And I'm going to use the contiguous polygonal island area. I'm going to change my color to black. There we go. I'm going to turn off those areas. And it looks like I missed a couple for, oops, don't want black. I want white. Let's fill it from there. Yeah. Oops, I overwrote the beak on accident. Let's go back into the UV. There we go. These bright colors make it really easy to see how the folders are tagging our model. It makes it very apparent as to where the problems are, and it creates a nice solid foundation that allows us to texture quickly and easily here inside of Substance.